In these conversations you've been having with various officials in China, do you think they too are optimistic that cooler heads will prevail in this trade situation? I wonder if perhaps they're looking at the midterm elections coming up in the United States and think, if we can clear that risk, perhaps then we can come to a deal here.
I think they're less focused on the US political cycle. I think they take the current administration and the current presidency as a given for some time, potentially for the next 8 years. Their focus is more, let us get to a reasonable level of cooperation at the global level. They're opening up. They're increasingly willing to apply WTO rules and reform some of these international arrangements. So I think China is moving. And I think we should use the momentum that China is developing under pressure at the moment to really make that into something that is beneficial at the global level.
Do you think we would have seen this momentum if President Trump hadn't started the conversation in the first place? Because it seems to me in some ways you're saying Europe could really actually benefit from this in an odd way because it is forcing China to pivot in some areas.
No, so I think China was on its way all the time. And when I was sitting on the international committees, like I was the German governor on the Monetary Fund, China wanted to play a bigger role, and the international community was very slow in letting China access to these international organizations. And I think China is still on that trajectory. And I think China has maybe accelerated somewhat under the external pressure, but for me, direction of travel was never questionable, but we should use the positive momentum that is at the moment there to really get to a new arrangement rather than keep applying pressure, because I think China goes at the speed it needs to go and China goes at the speed it can go. There's a huge amount of new people coming to the labor market in China every year, around 8 million graduates alone, and China needs to keep a momentum going. And they've rebalanced from external driven to domestic growth. They cannot afford to have a negative impact from these trade discussions. So there is a level at which they're willing and able to negotiate, but we shouldn't push them too far.
Still watching? Perfect. Click here to watch another great video from CNBC International. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.